wasn't a finishing move back then.
I mean,
Crossroads was more of a counter move.
Aren't most finishing moves like passed down though? Like I know, like all the Samoan
I mean,
wrestlers.
yeah,
like,
I mean, you got you got the crossbody was Superfly, Snookum. You know what I'm saying? Like, so that was passed down. The frog splash was passed down through the luchadorans, and you know what I'm saying. So yeah, they generational. But now they're going to where they're putting finishing moves in the middle of matches just as counter moves. They're not necessarily finishers anymore. You see what I'm saying?
But before you continue this conversation, I have to interrupt. Okay.
If they don't like me, I'ma live my life anyway. I ain't fucking with her if she ain't watching anime. You know the finest women in the world, you know they cosplay. Pocket full of money, yeah, yeah. Man, I came to play, yeah, yeah. Drop top, yeah, yeah. Drop top, yeah, yeah. All summer, yeah, yeah. I won't stop, yeah, yeah. Beat going crazy, it's a whole lot.
I'm sorry, I had to interrupt y'all because the conversation was getting good.
That was smooth.
But welcome back to Nerd on the Streets. Today we're going to be talking about wrestling, and more specifically, wrestling of the past. We do have WrestleMania coming up in a couple of months, so I wanted to get some of my wrestling people on to have a couple of conversations. I know it's going to be fun. Before we get into that, of course, we have our first guest. That is him. And then we have, you guys can find us at Nerd on the Street on Facebook. Join the Facebook group, Nerd on the Street for Life on Instagram, podcasts on audio, wherever. Then we have Captain Diesel coming through from Captain Diesel's dojo.
Aloha. Hello, everyone.
And you can also find him on the Then and Now podcast, of course. Then we have Tappin' No Cappin'. If you're a nerd and you've seen it, then what's your opinion? One Piece Alliance for Jew, because I know he couldn't be here. And then, of course, you can always stop by the Comic Doctor's office to get your proper diagnosis and prognosis and all things comics and comic book characters. Okay. Now, a couple of other introduces. So if y'all want to go in order of how y'all are on the screen, I can't actually tell how y'all are on the screen. So
when you say how, like, is it to the person next to you or person below you?
I guess the person I don't know how you guys look on the screen to y'all. I know how you look on the screen to me.
You and then me, and then we'll go down.
Oh, okay. Well, everybody knows their everyday favorite, everyday blurb, Jason Rain, and blah 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 blah. Kaori's fake best friend, you know how the game goes.
That's the next person. We're not. That's the next person. We're not doing this today.
All right. So, about 20 pounds ago, and maybe 6 months ago, I had a podcast called "The Pin Down." The guy on the bottom of the person at the top is Mr. Charlie Wilson, aka Captain Diesel Dojo. He convinced me to do it, but my name is Dez. Did it for a long time, had it, kind of just fell out of it, slowly think about it. But when Captain, I'm gonna start saying Charlie. I can't remember.
I call him Charlie throughout the show anyway.
I've known this nigga for 12 years. I can't remember Captain. I'm not saying Captain D, those like that. The thinking knows I have a hard time pronouncing my THs and my Js, so I'm not even going to embarrass myself on here. But when he told me that you were doing a wrestling episode, he was like, "Hey, like, I want you to hop on." And at first, I was like, "What are we talking about?" Because like I'm not too big into anime loot. Then when he said wrestling, it was pretty much already sold. So I'll leave that as mine. I'll let the rest of the episode speak for me.
All right, and I think it would be Jay. Is it Jay or Chris? It would be Jay at the bottom.
Okay, y'all give me a second because I'm actually the one that's driving at the moment. Don't text and drive or video chat and drive. So I just pulled over so I can get this thing right. My name is Jay. More exclusively Jay Sklew. I'm just the old head in the room that know more about wrestling than anybody else here.
Mm. I ain't got nothing to say to that one. I ain't got nothing to say to that. I will concede that. I am casual, sir. It was. Hey, you see the three niggas that ain't cracked a smile yet?
Oh man.
This is going to be a great episode. Charlie?
Oh yeah. I'm Captain Diesel. It's your boy. When it comes to wrestling, I was a big fan early on. I've been loosely following. My friend in the top right has kept me in the loop for pretty much as long as I've known him. So I've been like teetering in and out, and I've seen some cool things here and there. But as of Friday, I'm back in. I think I watched my first Monday Night Raw fully all the way through since like 2014. So I'm back in the loop, and it's a lot more blackness. And the women division has got like the women are like athletes.
Yeah, the women they cold, like they cold.
I was like, I've seen them. I forgot who it was. I was watching the match. I seen them doing like moonsaults and shit. I was like, oh god, okay, I'm back. I'm here for this.
Oh, it's different. It's way different now. Oh yeah, you didn't see the girls? They got Hell in a Cell matches now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they going
hard. This shit crazy. I'm here for this. So yeah, that's me. I'm the casual here to speak about the past. That's what I can speak on as far as my experience with the early to mid 2000s WWE and some of the late 90s stuff. But that's around the time I was watching really heavy.
Can y'all hear me good?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right. I'm Chris Flash, for those of you that know me.
Zoom.
Professionally, photographer, as far as this goes, I am a huge anime nerd. Saiyan Clan, Vegeta Clan. I don't know if you can see my tattoo. That's the Prince. And I've been watching. I'm 32. I've been watching wrestling pretty much all of my life. I never really went off of it. And yeah, I'm excited to sit on here and just talk about wrestling with some black people. Let's get it.
That belt's looking real nice.
Huh?
Mm-hmm.
That belt's looking real nice.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna say that, but I was over there like
I shined it up before I got on here. I'm like, oh, we talking. I'm gonna make sure I look the part. You know what I'm saying?
This shit is not cheap either. You see how I feel like
It is not.
Well, we're not gonna talk about how much it costs. That's my best friend though. For anybody who ever had a fucking doubted question, that's my best friend down there.
I feel like you finna start something that wasn't supposed to be started.
Because people keep playing with me. That is my best friend down there. Now, hell. Anyway.
Hell.
oh, Jesus Christ.
Every time it's talking to Charlie too much. All right. So I wanted to go ahead and start with what did I want to start with? Oh, your top 3 wrestlers. And so because this is going to turn into the conversation that I know that it is, I'm just going to go ahead and list mine. And then the rest of this is going to be y'all. So my number 1 favorite has always been and will always be the exact same. The Undertaker. And then my number 2 has always been and then my number 3 has always been my girl, Kelly.
Kelly?
You seem like a Kelly type of girl.
I'm not saying anything on that.
And is. Leave me alone. Anyway, so the rest of this is up to you guys. And we're going to start with Charlie's, since he's my casual in here.
Yeah,
His number 1. His number 1.
Rey. That was I'm a huge high flyer lucha libre, and he just got all the swag. Ain't too many wrestlers in the WWE history I feel like got more swag than him. Let's put that out there.
I thought our list had to be wrestlers that wasn't wrestling no more.
So we were going off the past.
Yeah,
I said past.
I was like, what?
And
I was like retired or dead. Like, what we talking about?
I said retired, but Charlie usually slips under the radar with things because he's the youngest.
He's
So
retired once already, though. Like,
I'm not saying. I know that nigga feel. I know that nigga feel restless.
time, so I was
Bro,
like,
he
I
is
put it on
100%
there.
Charlie,
I
just
still
did
because
that
Rey
restless.
time.
Mysterio left WWE don't mean he retired, brother. There's more.
He actually did.
Just because he's in the Hall of Fame, don't mean
No. He actually did retire. He retired. They had a farewell match and ceremony and everything. He was only brought back to stem up the Dominic Mysterio story when him and somebody was beefing. I can't remember who he was beefing with. I want to say it was Seth Rollins when they kept saying that Dominic wasn't raised, that he was actually Chris Benoit or whatever.
oh
So
shit.
You need Eddie Guerrero.
Ray was brought back because of that beef.
Hey,
So he was actually was retired.
I'll take the validation. I appreciate it. You think it's about to tear me apart? I can't defend myself either. I'm the guy. I'm in the ocean without a floaty. I cannot swim. This next one really about to be fucked up then because I did not know it was retired.
Well, we'll get into the next one.
You know, at this point, I gotta change my list.
I'm trying to remember who is the second person. I want to say
I can just say it if you want me to say it.
no, not your number two, but the next person's number two.
Also,
I mean number
somebody's got a
one.
little bit of echo.
I think it's because Jay's in the car.
Gotcha.
Yeah, blame me for it.
I already did.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Oh, it was Chris. Okay, I'm sorry.
Wait, you don't know who my number one is?
No, I was looking because I have everybody, so I have it where it's listed in the thing as your wrestler, your top three wrestlers, your top three matches, your top three finishes, and then I go to the next person. So I was just trying to see who I put next because I forgot.
Okay. Wait, are we doing like number one, or like
Yes.
whole list?
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
So am I next?
Yes, you are.
Okay.
And I'm about to bring yours up right now. Well, at least the way you listed it to me.
No, it's still the same.
Oh, I am mad at Kurt.
So we talking about explanation. For me, number one, his background. I know a lot of people, a lot of superstars have had collegiate backgrounds, professional backgrounds, Olympic backgrounds. But the way Kurt came in and he took to it so fast, he had a personality, he had a character. And at first he was kind of looked at as like being a douchebag, and everybody like WWE kind of wanted him to be like this top guy. The crowd didn't really feed into him at first, but he kind of took that and like adapted to that and became this like his own character. So how he evolved from that space, and then he went on into to become the Wrestling Machine version of Kurt. When he came out with the hoodie on, his music changed, and he had like this real attitude to him. I'm like, yo, aside from people like maybe Benoit and Brock Lesnar, I'm like, if you in a ring with this dude, he gonna leave with a limb. Like, this dude is really here to kill you. So yeah, I didn't like when it comes to just straight up wrestling, and also having a character. Kurt's the guy for me.
Did anybody else have anything to say?
No,
Yeah, as far as that,
I mean, yeah, I'm about to say, I mean, you hit everything on the
I think one of my this didn't make the list, but when you're asking me favorite past matches, it was going to be Kurt Angle versus Randy versus Rey Mysterio, Charlie's guy, at WrestleMania.
WrestleMania.
I think that
Kurt's
was
gonna do dirty.
I think that was my first WrestleMania match like I watched completely. And I remember from that moment on, I was like, like Ray's good. I like this Randy guy. I was like, but this Kurt Angle guy is like a freak of nature, especially when he suplexed Randy and Ray at the same time. That was probably one of my favorite spots. But no, he's right. Like it's kind of crazy how Kurt Angle debuted, and then literally like a year after, it's either a year or like a little bit more after a year, he won the WWE Championship just because he was good at this getting people to hate him. But at the same time, he was probably one of the I want to say the best person in that ring because I love The Rock, I love Stone Cold, but Stone Cold wasn't really that best of a wrestler. After he broke his neck, he just adopted a brawling. He adopted a brawling style. And then The Rock, I like The Rock. I think he's good, but I don't think The Rock is top 10 best wrestlers out there. But no, definitely, Kurt Angle definitely does deserve to be in the top one. I don't think he's mine, but definitely.
Personally, for me, I think it was basic for a minute. I ain't gonna hold you. When I was a kid, I liked the Flash. I liked the different personalities of wrestling. And Kurt seemed cool, but he didn't, like, at least for me at the time, didn't have the aesthetic that I was looking for as far as coolness factor. It wasn't until I actually started wrestling in high school and started to see how difficult the sport actually was. And of course, finding out from my friend here that he was like that in college, and he showed me like some videos of him actually wrestling. I was like, oh, he liked that for real. That he is not to be fucked with. He was like
with a broken freaking neck, bro. Come on,
yeah, bro. If anybody's ever done the sport or attempted the sport, that is probably one of the hardest things I've ever done in my entire life. So I got to respect him.
Kurt will be an honorable mention for me. Simply because I can't hate on the fact that the man won the Olympics with a broken damn neck. But crossing over into the WWE, I don't feel like they did him justice. Not necessarily him doing the business any justice. I don't believe that WWE did him justice coming in because they didn't really give him a lane or a character type. He just kind of showed up as the Olympic gold medalist. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's all you got. Like, this guy won the Olympics, throw him in the ring. So he had to adapt himself to what the WWE had going on, and then he partnered up with Triple H and some other people, you know what I'm saying, and kind of developed a character type. Once he got his character type going and he, you know what I'm saying, went all the way through up until now, you know what I'm saying, you hear his entrance music, you know, you're going to get the "You Suck" behind it. You know what I'm saying? He adapted to that and he uses that as momentum. You know what I'm saying? So I wouldn't say Kurt was nowhere near my top 5, but he's definitely an honorable mention.
And this has him listed as number 1, but specifically late WWE, early TNA.
Yeah. So
oh yeah, late TNA, he was
think of
crazy.
him saying what you call it, I forget, I'm terrible with names. I'm Jay. So Jay was talking about how he doesn't think WWE did him justice. So I can definitely I can see that point being in the beginning where they pretty much just had him coming in as Olympic gold medalist, but I kind of feel like with there being no one in WWE who was an Olympic gold medalist, there were plenty of Olympians in there, but none of them had a gold medalist. So I think WWE only has one other person who's in there with a gold medal in amateur wrestling. But Wrestling Machine, like Chris Fly was talking about, that's probably my second favorite Kurt Angle, and arguably, depending on what day of the week, is probably my first version of Kurt Angle. But definitely when he went to TNA, I felt like that was a Wrestling Machine continued because he was putting on excellent matches with Samoa Joe. That's who he debuted with. He was going against AJ Styles, one of my favorite guys. He's also a Georgia boy, just like me. But then you also had him going against Christopher Daniels. You had him going against his name's Desmond Wild, but I forget his actual name. But Ring of Honor, he was doing good matches with him. And then you also had him crossovering into New Japan Pro Wrestling. And pretty much like for like the good first 4 or 5 years in TNA, just firing on all cylinders. And I remember being a wrestling fan, I loved Kurt Angle. And then when I got older and I started like doing deep dives into like wrestlers I liked wrestling career, that TNA one just really stuck with me really well too. But definitely, I honestly feel like Kurt Angle is top 3, more so just because I think he's arguably one of the best to ever do it in the ring when it comes to just intensity. Him just having great cardio, because we can all kind of imagine like it's already like hard to run if you're like a normal person who doesn't work out much, but imagine having to run, jump on the top rope and suplex somebody, like, you know, like, and then get up and then do a moonsault, then get up again and hit an angle slam, and then on top of that hit a ankle lock, then hit an outside dive. Like me, I'm not going to say like, me coming from a somewhat athletic background, that's just like crazy. And him just doing that 5 days a week and just being in tip top shape. So definitely, I think Kurt Angle is top tier to ever do just based on that. But also just because of how well he adapted into the pro wrestling world for someone who did not have really an ounce of knowledge before entering the pro wrestling world. He kind of just soaked up what was around him, working with Triple H, working with The Rock, working with Vince, and was like, okay, like I think I can get this. So definitely for that reason.
Represent voice next. We'll talk about.
Hey, pause. So, to what you just said, you know, the high flying, running up on the top rope, suplexing, outside dives, and have you ever heard of this dude named Ricochet?
Yeah, but here's
Yeah.
the thing. But
Oh, okay, there's no sense.
Nah, look. So here's the thing. So we're talking. So Ricochet is good. I'm not discrediting Ricochet. Love Ricochet. Love his work in Lucha Underground. Dude was great. However, we're talking mic skills. Ricochet hasn't really done much with mic skills. If we're talking when it comes to wrestling ability, Ricochet has great matches with Will Ospreay. Will Ospreay is awesome, but at the same time, when people talk about that match happened like 6-7 years ago. Talking Kurt Angle, if you say, "Hey man, favorite Kurt Angle match," people go, "Ooh, ah." People do that. If you talk about favorite Ricochet match, people go, "Ah, Will Ospreay."
I wasn't saying as far as matches are concerned, because we all know that Ricochet gets played. He gets paid to lose. Like
Not true.
that's just what he does. You know what I'm saying? Like you'll never, unless a stroke of genius happens and they write up a great tag team or singles match storyline for Ricochet, he gets paid to lose. He is definitely just a high flying loser. You know what I'm saying? That's just what it is. But just on sheer cardio and ability to high fly jumps and all this, that, and the other, yeah,
I mean, he's over Kurt Angle. I'm being honest.
Ladies and gentlemen, the super heavyweights are added.
Yeah, Kurt is just Kurt. If I would never put Kurt Angle and Ricochet in the ring together, because Kurt is going to. I mean, that ankle lock is coming probably within the first 2 or 3 minutes of the match. Like that's not a match. That's like putting Mike Tyson in with Floyd Mayweather. You're not gonna get a match.
I wouldn't say that because Kurt Angle went on with AJ Styles, and back then AJ Styles was, I don't want to say he was considered the Ricochet, but like AJ Styles was a high flyer. He was putting on the clinics with a lot of other guys.
Yeah,
and I think
Kurt would kill Ricochet though. That's just how that goes. You're not getting.
I'm not saying he would.
That's just that's point blank.
He would only do a minute or two match. I don't think Kurt would just do a minute or two match. Like we're talking about Kurt to where he's like the ultimate wrestler in the sense of he's going against a high flyer guy. Like, okay, he's got some high flying stuff in his, move set. Like he has a moonsault. He did a dive a couple of times. And it's like, oh, he's going against a big guy like Taker. Oh, like
Kurt actually even went through a table twice.
Yeah, exactly. So
yeah, I give you that.
Yeah, I just, again, like no disrespect, like, I love Ricochet, but I just feel like if we're talking like creator wrestler, like if you were to go on WWE SmackDown versus Raw 09, 08, 07, I feel like you would want a wrestler kind of like Kurt Angle, where you got some power moves in there, but at the same time, you also got some pretty moves in there. Like you got a moonsault, you got a dive over the top rope, you got a suicide dive, like you got stuff like that. And then if you wanted to be a wrestler, you would kind of want to be somebody like Kurt Angle, but at the same time, like talk at least just as well as he does. I don't think Kurt Angle's top 5 when it comes to cutting a promo or grabbing a microphone, but I think he's just as good to where he's entertaining. Like he might not be the best talker, but he's entertaining with everything he did back then. And there's plenty of stuff that can showcase that.
Chris, did you have something to say?
I was just confused. I was trying to figure out where we were going with like the whole Ricochet thing. So I was just listening.
Oh, that was only brought up for reference of him saying that with Kurt Angle being, top tier because of cardio and, high flying moves. And if I misunderstood the statement, then that's on me. Because, it's like you got plenty of high flyers, like that's doing way more than Kurt has ever done when it comes to jumping off ropes and jumping over ropes and all that kind of stuff. Like, but I see where you went with it. I see where you went with it when you're saying that just overall as a wrestler,
You're breaking up.
Dynamic.
No, yeah, I was just I think I should disclaimer, but I would never say Kurt was like a great high flyer. Like sounds like when it comes to high flying, Ricochet or Kurt. I would never say Kurt, but like I think those we're talking like a technician, like just having a little bit of everything. I feel like Kurt Angle's probably arguably number one, if not at least number one top three.
Ooh,
I get
okay, come outside now.
Okay.
So scary.
So,
That's so
okay.
scary.
So, Maurice is number one.
Fair.
I'm not your toy.
Very fair.
Listen, when you talk about Shawn Michaels, there isn't probably what maybe you can't talk about wrestling without talking about Shawn Michaels. You talk about the best matches, it's him. Best faction, it's him. Best story, is him. He just and one thing I loved about Shawn Michaels was he didn't necessarily have to be the champion. Like he was only a 3-time champion, so he didn't necessarily have to have the belt to have that level of status to just be what he is right now. So Shawn Michaels is my all-time number one, never gonna change, ever, 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 ever.
Do y'all know how he got his super kick to be so fucking loud? Because I swear, I don't think I've ever heard anyone else do a super kick and just like, I can hear that shit through the TV like him.
Legs
Yeah, when he's doing it, I was like, oh, that hurt.
He smacked his leg hard as hell every time.
Yeah. I wanna add on to the Shawn Michaels praise because he is definitely an honorable mention for me. And I'm gonna talk more about when he came back after the back injury. Something that I liked about Shawn, obviously his in-ring ability is crazy, but this dude's expressions and selling was just
Man,
top tier. Like there was nobody that could sell danger better than
have you
Shawn.
crying? Have you crying through the whole match?
I'm saying, and like there was specifically Hell in the Cell match, DX versus Legacy, when Triple H got locked out of the cell, and it was just him and Legacy.
Getting that toe up.
Okay, first of all, is Shawn Michaels, right? So if you just look at his like legend alone, like, oh, he ain't gonna never be no underdog, but he's sold to make you feel like he was the underdog fighting up against a then Cody Rhodes and Ted DiBiase Jr. And for him to sell that back injury, and this is obviously going to be some praise to Cody and Ted to lock on to that injury and tell that story, but for him to sell that the facial expressions of just sheer pain and sell it through the camera, knowing where the camera is at all times, and like Maurice said, I'm about to shed a tear watching that match. I'm like, bro, somebody please come help him or call the match.
Triple H, bring your ass,
bro, because there's no way this is kayfabe. This is not kayfabe. Like he done re-injured his back, and y'all just like he's about to be out. So when Triple H comes back out and he finally gets into the cage and everything unfolds as it does, I'm like, wow, what a story. And it was perfectly told because it was Shawn. Hunter couldn't have done that. You could have isolated Hunter and he could have done they could have attacked his quads or whatever 95,000 injuries he done had, and it wouldn't have done the exact same thing. But the best person to sell in that match was Shawn, even at that age, because Shawn was what? He was
mid-40s, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, to go in there against those young guys and put on that type of match and have that trust in them and everything unfold as it did, I feel like at that moment, aside from the boyhood dream, which I was too young to like really understand at the time, but watching that match after the Elimination Chamber when he first came back and won the title, I was like, yeah, this dude is on a different level. Like, yeah, for real. So yeah, Shawn is definitely. I can 100% understand how he's number one.
No, and even more praises with Shawn. I was just going to talk about how charismatic Shawn Michaels like is. I kind of feel like, damn, yeah, I might have to double back. Shawn Michaels might be number one because he could wrestle just as good as Kurt Angle.
You too flip floppy for me. You too flip floppy for me. But pause.
Look, man, look,
Because
wrestling-
wait, pause. Because I'm a hater.
feel free.
I just want you to see.
Oh wow.
God.
Okay,
I knew
he's
that's what
going
he was
Jeffrey,
putting
crazy.
that
come on,
comment
nigga.
for. I knew that's what you put that comment
I'm just
for.
saying, like, just because you was doing too, I had to hurry up and get home just so I can.
That was
Speed
crazy.
up, girl.
All right.
Just so you can
Jeff, I
get
gotta
one
get
of
you
the
one for your
worst belt
birthday.
designs ever. Just so you can get one of the worst belt designs.
I feel like
His
this
favorite-
turned into a shit talking
color-
episode, and I'm about to
is
be with it.
All right,
His
but
favorite
look,
color is
but look,
red, and I
I'm gonna
got
be
that
honest.
for his birthday. Okay.
I'm gonna be honest. Am I a flip flop person when it comes to wrestling? Fair wrestling? Yeah, of course. It's not football. It's not just pick one team that's your team. It's kind of like watching an ongoing television show. Sometimes you really gonna fuck with this character, and then sometimes new characters are gonna come along where you're like, you know what? That's my OG favorite character, but I really like this character. So I don't think you should just have one person and just lock down. Can never be changed. On one day I'll say AJ Styles. One day I'll say Kurt Angle. One days it'll be Randy Orton, and some days it'll be John Cena. Like it's art. You know, it's not meant to
Wait.
be really stationary. You're not just supposed to be fixed on one person alone. If you want to really enjoy watching it, you kind of got to be open to more than just this style of wrestling or this style of talking or the way this person does this, the way this person does that.
It's gonna be some. If you ever say John Cena's your favorite, it's gonna be some heat in here, bro.
I know.
Listen, I'm gonna move Charlie up here next to me because we're just watching this show at this point.
You should definitely be. You should be an advertisement or sales because you sell that like you actually believe it. Like, no, don't get me wrong. No, I mean, from different eras, you're gonna have different number ones. But just in this one show, you switched your number one twice. Now, I'm not saying that you can't have more than one number one because you're going to see. I don't have a list at all. You know, and that's not to be assholeish or you know what I'm saying. The difficult one is just that I solely believe the fact that you know what I'm saying. Like you got to realize I came up with Junkyard Dog, Jake the Snake. You know what I'm saying. The Bushwhackers. You know what I'm saying. Like so, I've gone through almost every era of wrestling. So to say that I have a favorite, I can't because I can have a favorite from different eras. You know what I'm saying? But I can't necessarily pinpoint a single number one match or single number one person, a single number one anything because I've went through almost all the eras of it.
Sounds like y'all said the same thing.
That's kind of what I was about to say.
Wait, well,
He said, I don't have a number one.
Anybody
I like
got a
this.
list for them?
Well, look, best way I can put it. Look, best way I can put it is this. All right, most people who are big hardcore wrestling fans is because they have one emotional memory that can attach to it. So, like for instance, you guys are just like, oh man, like if you say John Cena is your number one, man, we're gonna have a problem. Let me break it down to you. Back in 2013, I was a big kid, had plenty of problems mental health wise. Anxiety, terrible. Always thought I wasn't shit, that I wouldn't amount to shit. Look on the TV, you got John Cena coming out. Of course, you old heads, you guys are booing John Cena, don't like John Cena. To someone who's around that time, and John Cena's cuts a promo about never giving up, about always being positive, saying in the moment that it's okay to take an 8 count, but still get back up and do it. That speaks to someone like me. And at the end of the day, I take that with me, even being a 24-year-old man. There's sometimes where I really want to give up. I feel like I'm not going to amount to shit. But I can remember that. So sometimes when you say John Cena, I'm like, oh, shit, I got to say John Cena because he helped me in that really dark moment. But then on some days when I'm just really more so thinking about entertainment, I'm like, oh, Shawn Michaels, man, because Shawn Michaels was charismatic as fuck. And on some days where I'm just thinking about wrestling and wrestling style, oh, man, Kurt Angle, man, because Kurt Angle could go in the ring. So that's what I mean when it's more so flip-floppy. It happens because, like, I just can't make up my mind sometimes. But I always have different things I attach to each wrestler that makes me, you know, flip-flop throughout the day.
I'm gonna let you have
That's
it.
fair.
That's fair.
I like the way you said that. I
was scared. Nigga, I was scared.
No, I like the way he said that. I'm not gonna
That's
argue
fair.
that. That's
Oh,
what's
yeah,
up.
and
That's
even,
fair.
and even like with him, like he was talking about Shawn Michaels because he said he wasn't. You said when you watched the Legacy match, right, Chris? You said that that's when you were like, oh, like Shawn Michaels is him because you're just like Shawn Michaels is like a dream time WWE champion, well, WWF champion, and also former world heavyweight champion. And you're just like, but he has us thinking like he can't take on these two guys. Like, like we know he's Shawn Michaels, the Heartstopper, Mr. Main Event, Mr. Royal Rumble. But like, damn, like he's got us feeling like he's just some normal dude who's just about to get beat up. And then even what's called Jason, he was talking about with the storytelling aspect where he's just like, man, like I always just liked him because he could always just put in like a good story in there. And like with story, I'm sure like you would have probably gotten around to Undertaker 1, Undertaker 2 when he was going against him. And then like one thing for me is like when it was Triple H versus Undertaker Hell in a Cell, because you had Shawn Michaels being the special guest referee. And y'all know damn well like special guest referees usually don't be doing shit. Like, or like if they do too much shit, it ruins the match. If they don't do as much shit, then it's like, okay, what was the reason for them being here? But you had Shawn Michaels helping out his buddy where he super kicked Undertaker. Triple H got him in the pedigree. 1, 2, Undertaker kicks out. You have Triple H who's too tired to react. You see Shawn Michaels getting scared, backing up into the corner, covering his face, shaking his head because he's getting PTSD flashbacks of when the Undertaker was too strong for him. And you have Triple H over there trying to calm him down. That's good storytelling. That lets you know how much of a threat Undertaker is. You cannot be a wrestling fan, but you could watch that match and go, damn, like Undertaker's like the big dog. Like he's like the guy that like everybody's afraid of. But that's like an example of just different things to make you like somebody.
Yeah, that's tough.
Okay. So we're gonna go on to the number 2s now. Everybody good? We good?
I don't even remember my number 2.
Fair warning. Keep in mind, my number 2. I was not aware this is the past wrestler thing. So do not take my head off.
Your number 2 was like Braun Breaker or some shit. I swear to God.
No. It's Kofi.
Okay.
I say Kofi for the fact when he came out, one, I didn't see too many, at least during my time, I didn't see too many like black wrestlers that I was attached to all the black wrestlers. So like him, Booker T, anybody that was black, obviously I'm like attached to. But when he came out, I did, and I'm already a High Flyer fan too. So he just had this weird like hybrid swag of he could high fly, but he was also really agile at the same time. It's like the boom drop. I'm at home, boom dropping the fuck out my little brother. I tried the Trouble in Paradise, but I was fucking in my granddaddy house. So I got my ass a couple times. Kofi was just cool as fuck to me. The Jamaican accent, maybe not so much. Which I'm glad I started watching. I got like a couple clips like the last couple years. I'm like, oh damn, you don't have the accent no more. That's crazy. I still kind of miss the intro. That's my big thing. Is I'm really nostalgic. So like the era or time I fall in love with you as a wrestler, when you develop further into like a different kind of persona, I kind of get nostalgic for that old one. Like I'm like that with the Usos too. I still miss like the Samoan Usos with the face paint and shit. I thought that was cool as fuck.
I was going to ask you like, what was your favorite version of Kofi? Like
it was the Jamaican stuff. It was that. Just one, I just felt like his just the wrestling gear was like the smoothest. Because I was never a huge fan of the tighty whitey stuff, but that smooth blend he had with the tighty whities, and then he had his fucking like leg sleeves too on top of that. I thought that was kind of cool. Kofi was like that for me. I still fuck with Kofi heavy. That's why he was the WWE champion that one time. I was like, oh yeah, I was right. I came back to WWE all of like 2 weeks to like catch up on that shit, and then I kind of dipped out again.
Kofi Mania.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. Kofi, I met Kofi. Funny story. I met him during like the whole Jamaican Me Crazy character run, and I went to went to Raw in Knoxville, I want to say. So me and my buddy, we went to go grab something to eat after the show, and it just so happened a handful of the wrestlers were there. So Punk was there, Beth was there, Kofi was there. I want to say Natalia. It was some other woman. I can't remember. But anyway, so we go in, and at this point, Kofi is like, yeah, that's my guy. So I'm like, I gotta say something to him. So I say something to him, and he's mad cool. And I'm like, yo, can we get a picture? He's like, yeah, of course. So I went out and I grabbed my the shirt that I just got from the show. It was the Boom shirt. And I'm like, bro, we gotta take a picture with this. He was like, oh yeah, man, we gotta do that. So him being so cool, that was like a one of those things that like locked me in with him. And then that run that he had, that whole story that he had back in the day with Randy, when he was about to take the championship. Well, some people say he was, some people say he wasn't. I think he was being cultivated for a push to go ahead and take the belt off of Randy. And that I was like, okay, he's starting to get some character. But the thing about Kofi that I think he needed back then that they were starting to give him was an edge. And once he started to get that edge, that's when a lot of people was like, yeah, like that boom drop on Randy through the table. I was like, yeah. And when he busted up his NASCAR car backstage, I'm like, yeah, now we're going to get somewhere. So I'm like you, when they started going to the whole New Day thing, I'm like, y'all are really trash. Like, what did he do wrong? Like, why are y'all putting unicorn horns on this dude?
Bro.
I mean, it took me a long time to get into New Day. I finally did, but I was like, yo, y'all killing Big E because he too big for all this shit. Y'all killing Kofi. And Xavier never really got the run that he needed, like how he was pushed in TNA. So I'm like, no.
The New Day shit killed me because Big E, I saw him when he first came in. He was like fucking with Cena, and he was this big, intimidating, like massive dude. And then I cut back in, and I see the New Day. I'm like, this nigga throwing pancakes.
It was a risk, man. Like that was, and the craziest thing is when I found out it was their idea. I'm like,
oh man.
Oh wow, y'all really took a risk on this. Okay, well, let's see how this goes. And I kind of like, honestly, if it wasn't for they're robbing with the Usos, I'm not sure if New Day would have got, at least for me in my eyes, would have got that next level that I was hoping for, because it showed like, yeah, like we silly and we funny and we fun and yada yada, but we can go in the ring. Like when that bell rings, like it's for real. And it made you remember that, like, oh yeah, we got a dude that was about to be WWE champion. We got a former Intercontinental champion. We got NXT champion. We got, you know what I mean? We got this pedigree here. We just need an opportunity. And like, that's like, I'm like, okay, now we're moving with stuff. And in hindsight, Kofi got everything that he deserved in WWE, in my opinion. So, yeah.
The last thing I'll say about the New Day, the thing that I did appreciate with them was the fact that they embraced their nerddom so much. Like with the Power Rangers, the Dragon Ball one. I'm like, okay,
yeah, WrestleMania.
I said they're going crazy. Like I used to really like them just because I wanted to see what they were gonna come out with. When they came out with the White Ranger and the Green Ranger, I said, "Oh, these."
Oh yeah, Xavier and Kofi, that was fly. It was green.
I said these niggas is cold. So yeah, I think what really helped them with for real was the fact they was trying to be faces in the New Day, but then they end up getting complete heels, and they just kind of embraced that part of it and really just rolled their shit for real. So
that's all I got for Kofi.
Good. Okay. All right.
Now hold on, wait a second. Wait. Before you get into anybody else's list, at this point, I feel like we all need a redo because I was under the impression that the wrestler couldn't wrestle no more because I had 50 million people
because
above.
That's what I said. Yeah. And I said that Charlie is usually the one that I let slide because he's the youngest.
Oh wow.
Well, can I swap out my last one?
But you didn't say that while you was like getting the polls from everybody. You said that once the show started.
Yes, because when I was putting it in here, I was like, and he's also on the same time zone as all of y'all. And it was like 2:00 in the morning when I was doing it, which was 5 a.m. for him. So I wasn't about to make him change nothing.
I will say, in all fairness for me, I did not start watching wrestling as early as y'all. And then with him, he is a historian, so he went back and watched the shit. I jumped in like the 2000s is when I was like my primary watching it. So most of my favorite people are still around, except for like my third person on the list. I know for sure isn't around anymore. My last guy is. So that's just me. I don't have too many dudes from the 90s I fuck with heavy outside The Rock and like maybe a handful of other dudes that I even knew about. So I'm extremely casual. Like 2000s is my era of wrestling. And for whatever reason, these niggas is like 45 to 50 years old still wrestling somehow. I don't understand it, but it's happening.
I mean, what you got against 40-year-old wrestlers?
Let some new people get in there. Like let some new blood in. Y'all y'all been here for years.
I'm 40 years old. So what you trying to say?
I'm trying to say leave room for young bloods to come through. Y'all had y'all time. You had 2 decades worth of like storylines, championship titles, promos. Let these young guys come up, young women come up and get some shine and like develop for a new generation. Now, some dudes like, hey, Randy,
Hold on. So,
like,
so let me get this right. Hold on, wait a second. I just want to say this one thing. So let me get this right. So you're saying that 40 and up year old wrestlers need to hang it up for the new guys, right?
Oh,
not hang it up per se, just like Randy Orton is great, but Randy is like still headlining main eventing shit. I'm like, okay. And I feel like it's at a point almost like with the NBA, because the NBA is my shit, basketball is my shit. To put it in reference there, you ever do like LeBron, who was on a team, and let's say he's on a team with fucking like Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, right? He's a superstar.
They're going to the title.
They're going to the title, but Shea may not develop into what Shea is if he's playing behind LeBron. If LeBron is like in year 20 and he's still dominating the ball, still dominating an offense, and everything's going through him, how's this other dude who's really ball dominant and here going to be able to showcase his full talent if he's always playing second fiddle to this guy? Now, the WWE is a little bit different in regards to that, but all I'm saying is there's been like this handful of like 3 or 4. It's better now because I think like dudes like Roman Reigns and guys like that are like coming in and they're starting to get a bigger push. I feel like, because how old is Roman now?
Wait,
go ahead.
I think everybody want to say something on this one.
I know.
Hey,
chill.
Because of the topic, I didn't want to come on here. We're not gonna like talk shit. So I don't want this to become like a "oh no, you're wrong" type of thing. But
Roman Reigns is like 40.
Hold on.
38.
Is he really?
Hold on. With your example with LeBron and Shea,
right?
How that would work? It would work because Shea may go to a team where he is not the primary ball handler, where he may not be the star of the team. So you need to learn how to play your role no matter where you are, because you can go to another program and be the star, but that may not get you a chip. And you can go to a team where, hey, I might have to play, number 2, number 3, but I'm going to get a ring. Russell Westbrook is the perfect example of that. Mm-hmm. He's not going to go somewhere where he's the star, he's going to get a ring. But he can go somewhere where he can be plugged into a system, and it's like, yeah, you're exactly what we need, and we're going to get you a chip. He's playing with the LA Clippers. It's working. But as far as WWE is concerned in that matter, these superstars in wrestling, like, you're gonna go until your body can't go no more, if that's what you really want to do, unless you want to go and act or whatever the case may be. Mm-hmm. And being 40 and up it's old in wrestling, but it's not as old as people may think now that we kind of have a peek behind the curtain and see what people's ages are. Because like you look at AJ Styles is what, 45, 46, something like that. Mm-hmm. And still doing springboard 450s and not missing a beat. You know what I'm saying?
Really truly in wrestling, you don't start popping for real until you about 35 or some shit like that. So
and if you take away all of the 40-year-olds, I'm gonna challenge you.
The locker room's gone.
All the 40-year-olds, and I'll give you an age gap of about 35. We'll say 35. Mm-hmm. Build me a WrestleMania card.
Fair enough. And again, like I said before, it's not. I'm not saying you need to just retire altogether. What I'm saying is, like, at that point, you need to start cultivating some of these people's personalities. Because to your point, I've watched enough interviews to hear from a lot of these wrestlers where, like, Kofi talked about he put in work for like a decade before he really started to get chances at like a WWE title, and some of these other wrestlers put in a decade's worth of work before they get chances and opportunities for that kind of stuff.
16 years it took Kofi to get a championship.
16. And in my head, I'm just like, damn, it took you 16 years to cultivate him as a person and the right storylines for him to get to where you perceived him to be worth getting a shot at this title. And usually certain people, like, I know Roman's had. He was. Right. And that's why I'm like, okay, my point being is you don't have to retire these guys. They don't have to disappear, but start to work on some of these storylines for some of these guys a little bit earlier. Like I look at somebody like a Rhea, like in the women's division, it's not like that. Somebody like a Rhea Ripley came in kind of early, right? And she got a lot of opportunities and stuff like that early because they saw that as a personality, she worked and people liked her. If you start to see people are gravitating towards a certain type of person and a personality, start to like elevate them a little bit more. Because I feel like if you just have them sitting there like it was in the past, you're kind of wasting that time. And then now you have to milk them till they're 65 years old because you didn't give them that opportunity early on. And they have to go through all kinds of different changes before you.
Like that's why you have NXT. That's why NXT was born. That's literally the reason NXT was born.
I'm only speaking from a casual perspective as well. I'm not watching NXT. I'm sorry.
Because no, just saying.
I'm not watching NXT.
No, wait, pause. But wait, you done set up. You done set up. Wait a minute. Pause. So the 40 and up. Let's go. We had 35 and up.
That came from NXT.
Yeah, they're coming through the same training, NXT type thing. But have you not? It's just like in hip hop now. Back maybe a couple of months ago, there was this thing that was. Would you? You know what I'm saying? You got the old groups. You know what I'm saying? No Limit, Cash Money, and all these people doing these reunion tours, and they're selling out arenas. But you got the young cats and this mumble rap and bumble rap and all this other stuff that are struggling to get sales. You see what I'm saying? So when you look at Royal Rumble, any Royal Rumble, and listen to the crowd's reaction or even people's reaction to the current wrestlers versus number 10 pops up and one of the legends run out. You know what I'm saying? Just this Friday is a prime example of that. On SmackDown, The Rock didn't say anything. He had 8 minutes of silence because his music played and he walked through that curtain, the roof came off this building.
So
you know what I'm saying?
To use your example, right? To go off of that, right? Well, I'm gonna use the mumble rap because I think that's not an A to B comparison.
Maurice, your face is killing me.
But to go into like that, you talk about the Royal Rumble, right? Let's take somebody like Jade Cargill, right? Where Jade is a up and comer, she has a following, people enjoy seeing her, and as soon as she came out in that Women's Royal Rumble, it went nuts. I just got finished watching SmackDown from last Friday. She was backstage signing a contract or proceeded to sign a contract. People went nuts. If you see you have people like her, where she's obvious, like you can see she's a star. People love seeing her wrestle and seeing her personality. Push her more. Don't sit her behind somebody that's been around forever. Like, I'm not saying she needs to get a title run like her 3rd month into the business, but don't wait a decade before you start to really push her. Because like you said, to those wrestlers like The Rock, they've been cultivating him and giving him nostalgic big moments for decades. And that's why you see so many people going crazy, because they have nostalgic ties with him. They have specific matches. Start to build some of those matches out for these younger guys early on, and you won't have to rely on the same 12 dudes for 10 plus years. Because once those dudes are gone and when they can't make it anymore, then you're going to be in a bad situation because you didn't develop anybody young.
Bro, you still got Ric Flair selling tickets.
I agree with what you're saying. But I look at, so Jade Cargill is a good example. The only thing about Jade Cargill is how she was built in AEW. And so if you have a wrestling fan, they know, oh, Jade Cargill was, this chick never lost except for one time. Right. She looks like $1 million. We're on social media now, so the comparison between her and Bianca has been, you know what I'm saying, juggled around forever. But the thing about it is with a lot of these young guys, they are given opportunities, but they're just not getting over. Like you look at Austin Theory. What was it? It wasn't Ring of Honor. What was it? Anyway, he was a champion of this promotion before, and WWE kind of like took him a little bit under their wing. And so when he got called up, mind you, I'm watching this program, so I know a little bit of who Austin Theory is. So when he's coming up, I'm like, oh yeah, he's gonna get the push, because during that time Vince was the head of it. And he looked just like a Vince McMahon guy. He looked like a young John Cena. So I'm like, okay, this dude can get a push. But it's not. Now I realize it's not about your ability in the ring, because Austin can go. Austin can't get over. It don't matter what type of character you give him. I'm not gonna say he can't. He hasn't been able to, but he's also very, very young. So the benefit of the youth is, yeah, we can quote unquote strap the rocket to your back and send you to the moon. But a lot of times, if we do that, we're not like the crowd may not like that. Roman was that. they wanted Roman to be the guy, but they turned him into John Cena, a Samoan John Cena. They hated him for that. It took him until he was 33, 32, 33, no, 34. So anyway, in his mid-30s to come back to Tribal Chief, and that was all him. That was his decision. He became that, and it got over because he realized this is what people want. They didn't want me to be what you wanted me to be. They wanted me to be who I always wanted to be, who I actually am. And so I realized that if we make these storylines and we create these opportunities for younger wrestlers, but they can't get over regardless of their look or how skilled they are in the ring, it's not like we haven't given you the opportunity, but we can't continuously throw these opportunities at you, it not work, and we not sell pay-per-views, we not sell seats because we're trying to get this experiment off. Ultimately, it's an experiment. And with Jade, it was a long-going experiment. We're not going to put you in the ring because you're too green. We're not going to try to cover you up with some of our stars because and make it seem like you trash. It could take one time for you to mess up, and now it can possibly be over. So we're gonna sprinkle you in. You look amazing, so we're gonna get people to go off of how you look. And when you finally make your debut, and they did the debut in the Royal Rumble. That's a cover up right there. Like all these people in the ring, you got 3 spots, and we're gonna cheer because you look amazing, and Bianca's in there with you. Put her 1-on-1 in the ring with someone before that. It's going to be either a squash match or she's going to get exposed. So it also depends on who has the book. Triple H has the book, so he understands how to work off that. When Vince had the book, you either looked a certain way or you had a certain gimmick, and that's what worked or it didn't work. Which is why he hangs on the Undertaker so much. So I definitely feel what you're saying, but my only thing is that when I see them give opportunities to younger wrestlers, it's sink or swim because WWE is a whole different thing. WWE is not it's pro wrestling, but it's not just about wrestling. It's about entertainment. Can you captivate 78,000 people at WrestleMania? If you cannot do that, I can't put you on the card. Or if I do, I'll put you in a battle royal.
Again, this is just me from a casual. Again, when I dipped out of wrestling for like a decade and I come back and I see the same 6 dudes, I'm like, damn, did nobody come in that y'all felt with? So I get your point as far as like the technicalities and the things that go into that. So I can understand that standpoint of it. That was just for me, like coming back and still seeing the same big dude. I think the only person I saw as of now that's like been big and been, at least for me, from my perspective, has been like Cody Rhodes and then like the Roman Reigns. Because I remember Roman Reigns is like the Shield is when I first seen him. I'm like, oh, okay, he doing his thing now for real. They gave him a chance. And I'll see other dudes from that time period. I'm like, damn, too many dudes didn't really get the shot like that. But I definitely see where you're coming from though.
So you missed the whole Bobby Lashley era.
Yeah, I missed that. I seen the recent shit that he had going on with.
Bobby Lashley had a run where I think he got every title that you could almost get. You know what I'm saying? Like in a certain little time period, he was the world champion. He was the Intercontinental champion. He was the U.S. champion forever. You know what I'm saying? Like, but Bobby Lashley again is one of the old heads that's been in the game a long time, and it took his character to go through being a good guy, being the bad guy, then coming back as the U.S. vet. You know what I'm saying? Like they start playing his army story. You know what I'm saying? That during the 9/11 times, that he was the almost the face of WWE because he was a true. Well, actually, he was still serving at the time. You know what I'm saying? So like. Yeah, you got to go through that development. Your character just can't come in. Like I believe they did Charlotte Flair way too fast. But when your daddy is Ric Flair, like he said, they're going to tie you to somebody to make you hot. You know what I'm saying? She was introduced to wrestling literally by her daddy, the 16-time world champion. And then here she comes fresh out the gate, and she's the 14-time women's champion. Trish Stratus and all that, it's like you had a whole line of women way before Charlotte, like even back when the Divas Championship was in play. But she came in and won 14 straight out the gate. You know what I'm saying?
That's OD. That's OD. 14, I think it's crazy.
Yeah, she's a 14-time. That's
And she got a
16
championship
time.
opportunity finna come up now. I think she just challenged. She just put out a challenge for WrestleMania.
Nah,
Yeah,
she's
don't
injured. She's on the injury list. She won't be back until late
Yeah,
this year.
Charlotte's hurt, I think.
the
Yeah,
only thing
she
I've
won't
seen
be.
I think
is
Charlotte's
Won't be
hurt,
back till late this
Bailey.
year.
from what I remember.
Okay, then that must have been a past highlight that I just saw. But you know what I'm saying? Like they really was beefing her character up for another championship run. You know what I'm saying? So it's like
And there's a
you
balance. There's a balance.
it's just really about validation. You know what I'm saying? Like if you ain't got somebody that's already a legend or icon behind you, i.e. the Usos.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? They came in hot. And like you said, you know, they came in with the whole Samoan thing or whatever, but everybody knows they the cousins to the Rock. They daddy is Rikishi and Yokozuna, and you know what I'm saying? Like you had all these ties to make people fall in love with you. Tamilia is the same way. Her daddy is Superfly Snooker.
Man, I wish Tamina became more than what she did, man.
She was supposed to have been a dominant, bro. Like you can tell her character is supposed to be a dominant. But they brought
Yeah.
Nia Jax in, again, another cousin of the Rocks. And she became that dominant.
That should have been the tag team right there.
It should have been.
They won gold.
They who?
No, they won gold. They were a tag team. They won.
Yeah, but like if you
No,
want,
like the tag team.
No,
yeah,
I
like if you want to build that division. Anyway, let's move on to number 2.
Yeah,
Yeah,
my
I'm
bad. I
saying,
didn't mean to
we
put this on a
way
long
off topic.
tangent. Yeah, my bad. We're up there like these niggas tripping.
Okay. Listen, I already knew how this was gonna go, so I'm not even worried about it. Okay, so we are at Chris's number 2.
Yeah, remind me who this is. Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. All right. So this is more of a personal thing for me. I don't feel like he's the best in-ring technical mat wrestling guy, right? But for me, when it comes to character, when it comes to moments, when it comes to charisma, I don't think there's anybody better. The guy literally, and people can argue with me on this, but when it comes to the Stone Cold Stunner, I don't know if the Stunner would be as big if it wasn't for the way that The Rock would sell it. The man would do backflips and corkscrews out there, and it made you feel like, yo, is he really turning people inside out with this move?
Hey, I used to think
And
the Stunner was the most powerful move on the
you know
planet,
what
but
I'm
when
saying?
Rock was
Because
selling
Rock
it,
wasn't a small dude. You know what I'm saying? And so yeah, so with Rock, he was my favorite growing up. I remember No Way Out versus Kurt Angle. I remember the backstage promo he played, like he did right before he came out, and he was talking to Coachman, and he did the whole, get out of my face and roasting Coach whole thing, and he was just like, Kurt, he did his promo, he was like, tick tock, tick tock, tick tock, and then it played the crowd and his music hit, and I'm like, that was a clean little transition. And hearing how that hits you and the crowd just goes crazy, especially now. It's not like you no longer hear if you smell. When you hear if you and you hear nothing else.
Yeah.
Very few people got that kind of pop, right? And just the moments like him and Hogan just standing in the ring for the first, 5, 6, whatever so minutes, just staring at each other. I don't think there are more iconic stare-offs that you can have than when you're standing on the other side of the Rock. Like, if you want to have a standoff, y'all just looking face to face. There's been other ones, but you look at Rock and Austin. You look at Rock and Hogan. Most recently, you look at Rock and Roman. He don't have to say anything anymore because he built that body of work. And one of the most memorable things was that people's elbow when he slid. Like, I'm sorry, bro. When I saw it, I was like, yeah, this is my guy. This is the smoothest dude on the face of the planet. And it was by accident that he did it. That was the coldest thing. He did it. Like, I'm like, bro. First of all, you wearing church shoes in the ring. It's kind of like Karapika bringing a shovel to a fight. You knew something was about to go down, so he just slid up in and hit. Come on, bro. Come on. I'm like, you him, and he held that all the way through. And I feel like his body of work and his character and everything stacked up so well that his mat ability, it's a con that nowhere near outweighs the pro. Hence why I'm wearing the shirt. And as a side note, I am very pissed about this whole Rock and Roman thing. I just want to put that out there.
I didn't want to bring it up.
I'm gonna bring it up. I'm gonna bring it up for a second. I'm gonna bring it up. I'm gonna bring it up because I know if you're a wrestling fan and you watching this, you saw the Rock. I wonder if you're gonna say something. All right. What the fuck is the point? Is the point of the Royal Rumble?
Royal Rumble.
If you're going to win the Royal Rumble, point to the sign, point to Roman, and say, I'm picking you. And the very next Friday, almost a week to the day, I'm coming for you, Roman, but not at WrestleMania. I'm sorry. Right. You're doing what?
I said, hey, so you fight Seth? I'm like, oh, so you fight.
You know what I'm saying? And then
so I took that. I got a question about that before you move on with that. So I kind of took that as a tip off of what's going to happen at WrestleMania, because my thing is, Cody, you were screwed out of your championship. Then you're going to say, I'm coming for you, but not at WrestleMania. So are you telling me that he's going to hold this title through WrestleMania so you can get it later? Or is he going to lose it and then simply win it back very fast?
So the issue, and there's no real, like, we have to like kind of wait and see. That's the whole thing I hate about it. But with this situation, it's weird because you have Elimination Chamber coming up, and they're trying to build this thing as like a show, if you will, right? Because it's in was it Perth, Australia?
Yeah, Australia. Yeah, Perth, Australia.
Right. So, which in theory you would think, okay, we're probably going to make the key person Rhea because she's Australian. She's our top Australian person.
Mm-hmm.
So if you do that, and then you say, okay, well, no, we need to put Cody and Roman at Elimination Chamber, and that's where Cody's going to win. That way you can have Rock versus Roman without the title. Okay. If you're not going to sell, like selling tickets, you're going to sell tickets if it's Roman versus Cody or if it's Rock versus Cody. But there's no story for real with Rock versus Cody. It is because it's like, oh, The Rock and Roman are both Samoan. You can tell that anywhere. You can tell that at SummerSlam. But because hold on. But because The Rock is now a board member, he kind of has this say-so of like, no, I want to do it. I want to do it at WrestleMania. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't.
Okay, so let me put it in this perspective for you. Let's go with head of the table, right?
Mm-hmm.
That was the whole thing with Roman anyway. I'm the head of the table, had the family come out, put the chilies around his neck and kind of bless him, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and I said this myself, like, if I was a writer, and I think I told you before when we were in Atlanta, that would be the ultimate storyline, and you didn't get it then, that the only person that can take this has to be in that bloodline. And with The Rock being gone, you kind of skip over him as the elder.
Mm-hmm.
So Roman has had this long reign of, I'm the head of the table, this is mine and this is my family, but then The Rock comes back and like, well, you can't forget about me. You see what I'm saying?
Need the title. Does that need the championship?
I don't think it
Does it
does.
need it? Absolutely. Absolutely.
Why?
Because if you take the title, you take Roman's dominance. That's kind of like taking him out. Well, no, like who is Roman without the title right now?
That's a story for them to tell.
You see what I'm saying? But the whole head of the table came from him having the title. Once he won the title, he became the quote unquote head of the table. And even with the promo even with what they did with The Rock, when he was doing his little promo or whatever, he said, "Well, I'm going to the restaurant, and should I sit over here? Should I sit over here, or should I sit at the head of the table?"
Yeah, and I feel you on that, but here's the issue: do you sell WrestleMania Night 2 as a full blown conclusion? Because The Rock is not winning that. Are you gonna make the new board member of TKO the world champion? The man who can't. I mean, yeah, Roman's not is not defending every single night, but Roman is a much more credible champion right now than The Rock would be. And so, if you're gonna have someone that's going
So,
to
and
take that away
that
from
goes
him,
back to my question with what they did and the way that they did it, that they tip off WrestleMania accidentally.
I don't think it was. I ain't gonna say I don't think it was by accident.
Or is it going to be a title match at all? Could it be a Rock Roman no title match? Just sure, I'm better. I'm the big dog. This is my yard.
That whole
And then
I'm
Cody gets his.
I'm a firm believer that every championship should be on the line at WrestleMania.
I agree. Night of
So if
Champions
you're
should
gonna
never exist.
so if you're gonna have Roman as the champion and he walks into that arena and steps into that ring, he needs to put that title on the line if he still has it. Now, some people say it should be Cody versus Roman night 1, Rock Cody night 2. But then I feel like the only way I feel like that works is because the whole situation with Punk. Because Punk is out. So Punk and Seth, they can't main event. So now you can have those two things. So now if you have, let's say, Drew versus Seth, that won't main event, but it'll be a marquee match. So you kind of solve it that way. I don't know how you tell that story unless they kind of make the fact that you're never here and you never defend actual part of the story.
But he wouldn't be the first. He wouldn't be the first champion that done that. That was everybody's problem with Brock. Because
What?
Brock was only a pay-per-view wrestler. He's not putting his
But that's what
title
I'm
up.
saying. That's what I'm saying. If you do that, if you make him defend the championship on the first night, and then he has to fight the second night, then you take everything away from Roman in one time. And that was supposed to have been the whole thing last year. Night 1, you took the tag team championships from the Usos. They kind of having this whole thing going on, right? So then after that, you have Roman lose the championship that next night. Then you can tell the story of, okay, who is Roman without the title, and who is Roman when he's losing the bloodline. All of that would have been solved last year, but now you done had the Civil War. He done lost everything. You done had all this breakdown. Jimmy somehow joins the bloodline back. I still don't understand that story. And now you got this whole thing with The Rock. So it's like, I 100% get what you're saying. I get why you're saying it. But the way that they have told the story thus far, it to me, it just doesn't make sense. If they decide to go with Rock Roman for the title, if that's where they're going. If that's not where they're going, well, last week was just a pop. But if this is where y'all going with it, it's kind of tough to sell WrestleMania on that alone.
But it's hard to sell the story, but it's easy to sell tickets. You know how many people just want to see The Rock hold that belt over his head one more time? Whether he keep it for, because you still got the Money in the Bank championship out there now. That briefcase still out there. So
Damien comes in and takes it from The Rock.
does he?
I don't like it.
That's nasty.
I do not like it. I hear what you're saying, and there's always ways to get around it. But if they decide to go that route, I'm still gonna be like, you could just had Cody. Because here's the thing: you want it. I don't care about The Rock holding. I never have to see The Rock throw another punch. I am cool with him playing the Austin role. His music hit. He come out rock bottom, nostalgia moment. You know, if you're Smith, cool. I'm cool with that. I want to see those 3 crossroads. I want to see somebody come out there, neutralize Solo, maybe Jay or somebody else, neutralize all of that. 1, 2, 3. Roman's losing. Cody holds the belt over his head. All the fireworks go up in the air, and then it's a reverse of what we saw last year. When Roman leaves the ring, he's sitting on the top of the ramp. He's losing his mind because he's lost the championship, and Cody is celebrating. That's what I want. And you can say like, "Oh, you can't always get what you want." I don't care. I pay money.
That's beautiful.
This is what I want.
That is a beautiful storyline. Like I would pay to see that. I would pay to see Roman in distress. Period. I would pay to see Roman in distress. I don't care who do it. You can get R-Truth to accidentally fall on top of him and win. I don't care.
I ain't gonna lie, that'll be the funniest thing in
Oh
WWE.
my God.
Could you imagine that?
And then
Losing,
he don't know that
you're
he
the
won.
most dominant person in wrestling, losing your title to R-Truth
By accident.
by
That would be
accident.
incredible. That would be incredible.
Can I join the business thing now?
You know what? You know, in hindsight, I want to see that more. I just want to see how they get to that. How do you get to R-Truth accidentally falling on top of Roman and winning the championship?
Has he
And
gotten
walking
the
back.
WWE title yet?
Nah, they're not gonna do that.
Nah, that's why they gave him. They invented the 24/7 365 championship for him.
7-Eleven.
Yeah, 7-Eleven, 3, all that. Like that's why that title was invented for him. Just like the $1 million belt was invented for the $1 million man. Like that's you can never talk about that title without R-Truth name attached to it.
Oh yeah, for sure. Okay, who's the next number 2? You're doing a great job as mediator, by the way.
Thank you. I try. Especially when this would have been my wheelhouse a long time ago. But anime and comic books have dominated my brain at this point. So, what is that man's name?
Maurice?
Yes.
Maurice?
Jesus. Yes, him. His
The
number
co-host of
2.
your podcast? That's crazy.
Excuse me. I have been up since yesterday. Since yesterday.
Yes. Why you don't do crack, kids?
I haven't. First of all, don't do that. I haven't had a nap or nothing. Anyway, his number 2.
I ain't mad.
So, like, do we just discuss how we feel about Triple H since he's not here?
You can. You are more than welcome to do exactly that.
Triple H is a great performer. His matches are just too long.
His matches are long fuck.
Oh, fuck.
Which version of Triple H are we talking about?
He did not say. He just put Triple H.
Because are we
That's all-
talking
that's
four?
all
Are
good
we
about
talking
him.
the Four Horsemen Triple H? Are we talking DX Triple H? Or are we talking?
Wait,
Let me tell you
Triple
how
H.
generalized
He
his
means
list
evolution.
is.
He means evolution.
Let me tell you how generalized his list is.
Yeah,
I
that
did
right
ask
there.
you guys.
Because they went up under the Four Horsemen as Evolution. You got me.
Let me tell you how generalized his list is because I asked you guys for your matches. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So he goes. I'm gonna read you guys this just so y'all can understand the things that I have to go through when it comes to getting information from my co-host about things like this. I said, give me your top 3 matches. HBK versus The Undertaker. Okay. Which one? Am I supposed to pick? Am I supposed to guess? I don't know. I picked a random one, so y'all will see that in a minute. HBK versus Cena on Raw. That is the only specific one he gave me. It's one from 2007.
That was a good one.
And then I don't know, he gave me 2 specific ones. And then he
all
said,
HBK matches. That's crazy.
Yeah, it is actually because it's DX versus Legacy and Hell in a Cell.
Ha! Yeah, he is
Shawn
definitely a
Michaels.
HBK fan.
He
Yeah,
is.
oh God.
He is.
For sure.
Because the last time I asked for things, he was just like, this generalized situation and then this generalized situation. I was like, that's really great. Except when you Google these things to get like pictures and videos, I can't do generalized. And then you come on here talking specifics when I could have had a specific. You know what I mean? So, moving on, we
tough.
have. Oh, Des, I'm so sorry. I skipped over yours.
Are you sure?
Here's your number 2.
That's a terrible picture of him.
It is a terrible picture, but you know what? It was 5 o'clock in the morning, and I wasn't about to keep looking.
So, for me, I actually just recently became an AJ Styles fan. I want to say recently, as in like back in like 2013, 2014, mainly when he was doing the Bullet Club stint in New Japan. But sorry, with AJ, it was kind of pretty much the same thing as alongside with Kurt Angle, to where I felt like he was a guy that was like, if you were going to create a wrestler, you want a wrestler who was high flyer, but at the same time could wrestle really good, and at the same time on top of that had a good bit of power moves. And I kind of feel like AJ checkmarked all those boxes. And then especially when he came into WWE at 2016, where you could kind of argue that there weren't too many big stars. Like you had Roman at that time, but kind of what Chris and Jay was talking about when they were talking to Charlie about pushing somebody too soon. Roman was in that spot where he was a guy everybody knew kind of he was a future guy, but the fans rejected him. I really like seeing kind of AJ coming in there, and to where you had a lot of wrestling fans who were like, oh, like who, like AJ, awesome, nice, like he's going to clean up house. And then you had the casuals who were kind of just like, who's this like guy with the soccer mom haircut? Like, like how are we supposed to care about him? And then you see him going in there, putting on great matches with John Cena, Dolph Ziggler. He had one of my favorite ones. That wasn't really a big match, but this shows how really good he was, even on TV. Was Bray Wyatt, rest in peace, versus John Cena versus AJ Styles. That was like a good match. I remember watching it, and that's when I was just like, oh no, like AJ Styles probably like the best person put in there, where you got somebody you really want to impress the people in the audience, put them in a match with AJ Styles. And I guess I really liked him just for that factor, and that factor alone, probably.
Yeah, Georgia boy too.
Yeah, Georgia boy too. Yeah, Gainesville.
Rep the hometown.
Yeah, AJ's one of the. To me, AJ's one of those guys like you know you're good when you can make it work in different promotions, because every promotion has a different system. And so with TNA, they were very experimental with like how they did everything. And he was really able to like kind of get his name out there, get his style like really honed in. And then when he went to New Japan, that's when he kind of like took off. And he had this I don't want to say resurgence, but like stuff really clicked. Like it was good in TNA, but when he hit then the Bullet Club stuff, it was just like, yeah, this is a guy. Like he kind of reminds me of what Will Ospreay is now. And Will is just like this. I mean, you put him in a ring with anybody, it can be a 5-star. And that's how AJ was at that time. So when he took the jump and came to WWE, he, especially with the whole situation with like where it was, and you knew in order to kind of get your name put out there, you had to have a program with John. And getting John to not necessarily saying getting John to care, but to get John to have a match where it's not I beat you up for a long period of time and then you hit one AA or you hit 2 AAs and it's over. But like someone was smaller than him, they could out wrestle him. On a lot of different ways, they were better than him aside from being on the microphone. But then he got better at that too. And then he had that whole run where he was champ for a year or over a year. That I was like, okay, yeah, AJ has solidified himself as GOAT status. Doing all of that in his career, and he's still. I mean, he was just in a championship match this past Saturday. You know what I mean? So, well, not this past Saturday, but you get it. And I'm like, at this age, and he looks phenomenal. No pun intended. Like at this stage of his career, I don't know what him and Randy have eaten,
Bruh.
but these dudes. Me personally, I'm personally a more of a fan of smaller Randy when he was super small and had the bald head and just kind of came out like a demon.
Viper?
That's my preference. Yeah, Viper Randy. That's my preference.
Mm.
But with AJ, I'm like, yo, he's bigger, and the most impressive thing is that he can still move like how he did when he was smaller and younger. He's bigger and older, and can put on these types of matches and not miss a beat. Man,
He and Randy
AJ
on whatever the fuck
Styles
LeBron
he
is
is
on
truly
right now.
phenomenal. Say what?
When I said whatever LeBron is on is what they on. Because the fact this thing Randy came back bigger, I was like, bro.
He's 275 pounds, bro.
Randy, he's 275?
He's 6'5", 275.
Ain't no fucking way.
Bro, at this point, that RKO is attempted murder, bro. Like he's way too big. Way too big. But like, if you realize you ain't seen him throw a drop kick since he came back.
Right.
If he throw one of them beautiful drop kicks now, it might kill somebody.
I'd be like getting hit with a brick.
Flying out the ring.
I'm like, bro, you weigh more than Brock.
He's 275 right now?
He's billed at 275. I haven't looked it up and seen like if that's true. But when he gets announced from St. Louis, Missouri, where he get at 275
LeBron
bigger than he was like a year or two ago. Definitely much.
It's just crazy.
I'm like, bro, you 275 and you when he first came back, I was like, bro, I want to see you throw a drop kick at this size. Because he used to get high on them drop kicks. Bro. So I need to see this at 275.
Yeah. His weight is 275, listed from when he was 250.
That's crazy.
18 months, bro.
Moving like that, 275. Yeah, he on the juice, bro. You on the juice. I'm sorry. I know. He on the juice. He's on the juice.
It's his prayers and eats vitamins. That's all, man. Says his prayers.
He's eating people is what he's doing.
Push-ups, sit-ups, and a whole lot of juice. Crazy.
I caught the reference.
Did you have anything to say?
DBZ and Bridge, I seen you.
No, I mean, I don't necessarily have an argument about AJ Styles because, I mean, one, I've met him personally. They did a show here in Chattanooga, and matter of fact, it was during his championship run. And he brought his son into the ring, and they did their whole spiel. I think he do that at every live show that he's main eventing. But I got to meet him, and dude is very approachable and tangible. So yeah, just he's been in almost every major sector of wrestling, you know what I'm saying, even all the way to the hardcore stuff, you know what I'm saying? Like, dude done took a chair or two in his career and made it look good. But I was gonna throw in just another honorable mention on the number 2 list, and this might be before any of y'all time. But Doink the Clown. I don't know if y'all ever.
Not Doink the Clown.
Doink the Clown.
Doink the Clown.
Jay's kind of onto something. I saw the.
I was gonna say, I think I know where you're going with this.
I'm not gonna lie, Jay's onto something with Doink the Clown. Let him talk. Let him talk.
I ain't saying nothing. I'm just surprised at the name. That's interesting.
I don't know. I got you.
No, it's literally a clown, like literally red nose and all. Like
I got you.
John Wayne Gacy in the ring and shit.
Yeah.
First of all, you didn't even have to bring John Wayne Gacy. He ain't do nothing to you. He ain't do nothing to you. You didn't have to do. You didn't even have to bring.
He
him
did
up.
a lot though. He did a lot though.
He did do a lot, but he's not even part of this conversation. We're not talking about serial killers today.
I forgot it's your man for. I'm sorry, I forgot. Oh,
hey, don't play with me.
Oh fuck. That is horrifying.
That
is terrifying.
That was the point.
Okay. Oh man. Yeah, that. Like I don't know what's worse than him and the Boogeyman for real. That's crazy. That's nuts.
Yeah. So I mean, when it comes to my honorable mention with bringing up Doink, is because he was one of them, just like y'all are talking about. Dude was real little when he first started, like in stature. And he blew up and he could move, and like Doink had this, I don't know if he necessarily had a storyline per se to back him, but his wrestling style and his whole persona about him as a superstar made him who he was. I mean, they even gave him a mini. They even gave him Dink. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, he had a mini me. It was Doink and Dink.
Hornswoggle, is that what his name was?
So that's where Hornswoggle was born from. The whole theory of Hornswoggle, you had Dink did it first though. You know what I'm saying? So I don't see anybody from that era like when it comes to if you're gonna compare the two, you know what I'm saying? I think Doink would be your AJ style of that time.
I'll take your word for it. That's nuts. It's crazy. Yeah, look, wow. I ain't gonna
And I'll give you for reference, Charlie, because I know you're not there.
Oh God, I didn't need to see that. I did not need to see that. Okay, I need an adult.
You are an adult.
You're right. You are an adult. Okay. Going to our number 3s. This is Charlie's.
Yeah. See, I struggled really hard, really hard, because I was going to go between him or Bray Wyatt, and I say Bray Wyatt because I'm a big horror fan, and the shit he did with coming out with the Tom Savini mask was like fire for me. But growing up, there's not too many things I wanted in my life besides the Rey Mysterio mask and those fucking Jeff Hardy armbands. Watch this man swanton bomb from heaven onto anything with some of the greatest shit. He's one of the reasons why I love High Flyer so much. Just seeing people jump and just fly from high distances or just fly long distances and land on people is some of the greatest, or that into like a fucking hurricane or whatever. Just seeing High Flyers operate is the most entertaining thing to me. The technical wrestling is cool. It's cool to me, but nothing's more entertaining than watching this man just jump off of shit and land on people. Ladders, cages, whatever, through tables. Him and his brother were on crack rock jumping off of shit. It was amazing to see.
And Matt was the safe one. That's the crazy thing.
Right. Right.
Yeah. I'm with you on that. Growing up, Jeff was definitely my guy. I got into wrestling from a I definitely remember stuff standpoint when I want to say TLC 1 happened, and I remember vividly that spear at WrestleMania off the titles, and I'm like, dude, there's no
People be like, "Oh, wrestling's fake." I'm like, "You watch that shit. It's
fake.
That was fake, bro."
Would you do this? Would they know how to fall? Would you learn how to fall and do this? And the swanton off of the table and hitting Bubba, but when they came back at WrestleMania 34, whichever,
yeah, the one in Orlando.
Yeah,
one of the biggest WrestleMania.
Man, that pop was crazy.
Ever.
When they came back for that, and I forgot which WrestleMania it was, but he did a leapfrog onto a ladder through Edge, and Matt is just like, no, and he just goes through it, and I'm like, between all of that stuff and then the match with CM Punk, and he did that swanton off of the biggest ladder I've ever seen in my life. And when he falls off the titles, off the ladder, hits the ring. If you watch this match, you remember he hits the ground and slides. Like his head is just out of the ring. And I'm like, this dude took bumps. I mean, personal stuff outside the ring, I wouldn't hire the guy. But when it comes to memories, if you were a 90s baby, you know them.
Do you remember him jumping off of The screen.
Yes.
Oh my
Was
god.
it on the
That
big
was
show?
on Randy. That was on to Randy. Yeah.
On the Randy.
But they went through like 4 tables or something.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. So when Jeff is okay, let me ask this: Do you like them? Do you like Jeff tag team Jeff or singles match Jeff?
Any fucking Jeff.
I was gonna ask that too.
Yeah. So
I
I don't know what era this was, but
I mean-
specifically the one when he had the eye makeup on, when he had the eyes over his eyes and shit.
Oh yeah.
So that
You know
was
what I'm
around
talking
2007, 2008.
So let's hear. I forget. You just now getting back to it. Okay.
Right.
Yeah, I keep forgetting that. I'm sorry.
I
TNA
saw
Jeff
some
is
of the
crazy.
early stuff, but that Jeff was like, I was like, bro.
Because I was only asking that because tag team Jeff was good because of the beef with the Dudleys, and I don't know if y'all
Dudley
remember
Boys?
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the TLC match. Yeah, the Dudley Boys and the Edge and Christian.
Nigga said that shit. I had a homeboy that said that too hard in school. He cannot stand the Dudley Boys, boy.
That's
Yeah, they the ones
that
that the whole tables, the ladders and chairs thing. I would definitely give Edge Christian and the Dudley Boys beef with credit for creating that whole theory. But the whole dominant, tag team beef that Matt Hardy and the Dudleys had for probably it lasted all of 2.5 seconds before Edge and Christian got involved in the whole thing. But that era of Jeff Hardy was kind of what we've been ping ponging back and forth of the development thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like the Hardy Boys went through their whole who are these little young first base looking like guys? Like they came in clean cut and the little high and tights and all, you know what I'm saying? Like they, you know what I'm saying? Like you didn't know who these guys was. The only thing you knew that one was strong and the other one could jump. And then they developed into their characters and you know what I'm saying? Then they got their push and then they went through their injuries and had to come back. Lita was a big thing for them too. You know what I'm saying? It was a big push for them having Lita because they was the first ones really to have a female sidekick that, you know what I'm saying, that in turn became part of the group.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? She's kind of like the Rhea Ripley now. You know what I'm saying? Like, so you kind of got to give Jeff props in 2 different areas. That's why I was asking, like, which era you were talking about.
Coke Jeff. When he was on that stuff, he was on that booger sugar for real. That era. When he was on that stuff, he was elite.
Hey, yo, that's the end of that one. Coke Jeff is, yo.
We can't go more into that.
Coke Jeff is crazy.
Coke Hardy, boy, that it was different.
Hey, I'm gonna tell you somebody who went harder than him. And y'all, we can argue this if you want.
Mankind, Mick Foley,
Ultimate Warrior.
Oh yeah.
Oh, dude, man, what?
Cocaine. Yeah.
He was definitely a crack. What?
Have you tell me one person you've seen run that fast to any ring ever? He took the WrestleMania. WrestleMania has the longest rep in wrestling. This man took that from the locker room all the way to the ring in full sprint.
And they took that bump.
This is the dude that's bigger than you too. This is the dude that's like 300 pounds of muscle.
Bro, I'm just imagining Ultimate Warrior running from his locker room through Gorilla.
Like I think the fastest, the only one I've seen him get to the ring faster was when he came to say, and it's one of the biggest highlights in WWE when he went to save Hulk Hogan.
Oh yeah,
he got to the ring ASAP, and he shook that thing, and the arena went nuts. I think that's probably one of it. Yeah, but you talking about Booger Sugar? Yeah, you definitely got to talk about the Ultimate Warrior.
We talking about Booger Sugar Wrestlers like him, Jeff, and Mick Foley. Boy, them boys was on that stuff.
Nah, Mick Foley was that. Mick Foley is a whole nother monster, and that's just because I mean, Listen, to lose your ear in the middle of a match
To have your
and
tooth go into your
still,
nose.
yes,
Bro, fuck
he
that. To jump
invented,
off of that cage. Like,
bro.
There
The
was no
man was
jumping.
just,
There was no
the
jumping.
man
That
was set on fire. He was set on fire.
nah, bro. That's just crazy.
He was bit by Jake the Snake.
Well, that was venomous, right? I heard he like
Yeah.
not defanged the snake, but like they took the venom and got the snake, right?
still hurt. Still hurt.
Like when you talking about Mick Foley, that's a whole show in itself. You know what I'm saying? Like because he got what 5 different personalities. He's Cactus Jack. He's Mick Foley. He's what I'm saying, Mankind. So like he's a whole show in himself.
Yeah, that's
Now he's a goat. You gotta give it.
Yeah, he's definitely the GOAT. You know what I'm saying? Him, and that's when I think with the whole Undertaker thing. You know what I'm saying?
Wait, before you get into Undertaker. That's Chris's.
oh, yeah.
And coincidentally, that's what I was gonna say. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different personas of the Undertaker.
Did y'all fuck with the American Badass Taker for real?
Okay, wait, hold on. Let me get into all of that.
Oh, go ahead.
So, Taker, no one has a greater character. When you think character in wrestling, it's the Undertaker. When you think of that gong, you know exactly what's gonna happen.
Mm-hmm.
This man made the term "rest in peace" cool.
Yeah.
He had a element of
Mystique.
for lack of a better term, yes.
Mm.
Okay. And this is one of the things that makes wrestling cool. And Triple H talked about this one time. So there was a time where Triple H and Mankind had a feud, and he was beating the hell out of Mankind like crazy. And he was like, and Mankind, like at the top of the ramp, literally took off his shirt and became Cactus Jack. And Triple H's face changed because he sold the fact that this is the same man. This is a totally different character now. So now I have this. When Taker would come out, or if you heard that gong, I don't care how tough you was, I don't care how strong you was. When you heard that gong, it was like, oh shit. Oh shit. Randy thought he was him. Randy thought he was that one until Taker popped out of that flaming casket and that man shit his pants. Should have.
I remember that.
The man was buried alive and stuck his hand out the dirt. This is when I thought wrestling was real. I thought that man was killed on live TV. And no, I'm here. I ain't going nowhere. I'm here. I'm good. I'm breathing. You know what I'm saying? So seeing that, and I went to WrestleMania 27 in Atlanta, and I know, like I used to think, oh, they just talking about, like when he comes out, goosebumps, all this stuff. Say what you want about the show of WrestleMania 27, but whenever Taker comes out, it literally gets colder in the arena. You feel the hair on your arm stand up, and this man glides to the ring, and you see all this smoke. And it's one thing to see the presentation on television. Now, mind you, the reason why I like anime villains to this day is because of Undertaker. How he presents himself and like in this like creepy, but yet like he makes sci-fi horror almost like, no, this is real. Like when he came out and there was like dead souls reaching up at him, I'm like, bro, that is perfect. No other character can do this. As cool as Randy is, it's not gonna be believable as Randy comes out and there's a whole bunch of snakes caught like just beside him. It's not gonna work. No other character can have these little small elements about himself that just works. The man lifts his hands up and the lights come on, and we believe it. The man throws lightning and people get catch on fire. We don't bat an eye. You know what I'm saying? He
I thought that dude was dead for real. I thought he was a literal zombie for a long
You
time.
see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying?
So
So
I
you
had
have
the I had the
his
privilege.
moveset.
I had the privilege once of being at a show with the Dead Man, like him and Paul Bearer, like way back when. And
You age
you're
yourself.
right, and it's never no it that has never changed. Never. Like I don't care. Like you said, you can from 9 to 99. When that gong hits, the hair on your back, legs, on everything is like stuck. You're stuck. That fog, you know it's a fog machine or whatever have you, but you can feel it, you can taste it, you can like it. That is a whole experience just watching this. He has the slowest interest in wrestling.
I don't know what mention Roman Reigns, but anyway.
No, I'm talking
No,
about
listen,
him
listen,
him
listen,
walking
listen.
him walking from the curtain to the ring.
15
Like
minutes.
they literally like I don't know if it's a respect thing that they have for him now and the respect that he's earned as a character to give him that much time to get from the curtain to the ring. You know what I'm saying? And they gave him the most iconic matches. The casket match, the I quit match. You know what I'm saying? Like him and Kane, the whole storyline of him alive,
Yeah.
which makes him the dead man. He set Kane on fire in response to. So that's what made Kane the demon seed. You know what I'm saying? So that
Favorite demon.
Before they ruined that shit.
so
Took that
let me
nigga's
ask
mask
this.
off.
Let me ask this. When it comes down to the Undertaker, I think you asked about the American Badass. Did we like the first one or when he started coming out the Limp Biscuit?
I feel like he doesn't know that there are two versions of that.
I did not know there was two versions. I thought there was just the one American Badass Undertaker.
I'm gonna say the Limp
think-
Bizkit one.
Yeah, when everybody was rolling. Okay, yeah, okay.
Yeah, I like. Don't get me wrong. I like the original where they had like the creepy like three girls in dresses singing, and then his music would come in. But when the Limp Bizkit
that was
came
hard.
in, that's when that one was cold. But I still feel like it was still remainders of like old Undertaker. But he went on like a podcast and pretty much said the reason why he wanted to do the American Badass because he wanted to do like a whole nother character. He's like, I didn't want this to be Undertaker mixing with a bike. He's like, I wanted it to be like a whole nother person. So that way, when I do bring back, the Undertaker spooky, scary gimmick, like it's, like it's done right. But no, the Limp Bizkit one, definitely. That was my favorite.
And what's cool about the Undertaker is after I was just watching which one did I watch? Taker Shawn 2 from 26. And I'm just kind of like just in some way studying the match. And I'm looking at what Taker's doing. And if you look, he's like each one of his finishers represent a different era of his career. If you look at even with my favorite thing is that when he comes back as the Phenom and he still uses the last ride, it's a character of myself that's totally different from this, but that was still me. So seeing the Phenom pull out the last ride is like, okay, I'm digging back into this persona that that was I really have to pull out all the stops. And it's because you have the Dead Man, and then you have the Ministry Taker, and then you have American Badass, and you come back with the different iterations of the Phenom. You have this culmination of different versions of what I feel like is Mark, because Mark is a fighter. He likes to box and brawl, all that type of stuff. He likes bikes and all that type of stuff. The Undertaker whole thing was a gimmick that Vince came up with. He was like, okay, I mean, I'm not coming out of the egg, so I'm happy. I'll roll with it. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So when he gets watching his matches prior to him almost dying at Crown Jewel, it really makes you respect not only the stories that he's able to tell in his matches, but the story that is the Undertaker's career. Like very few people are able to call upon the story that is their career in the way that they do. I feel like only the greats have that ability to do that. Like I've been here so long, and like there's been different iterations of me that now, like if I pull out a move from all the way back then, it's like y'all forgot about this. So like
Man,
for instance,
dude literally has the ability right now because of all his character tones to be a 6 or 7 time Hall of Fame inductee as each
yeah,
personality.
yeah,
Like they can
100%.
literally, and nobody would be mad at that.
Shit,
Just
like
don't bring
Kobe
back
asked
Taker
for
with the fat tie. Just don't bring that one back.
Oh God.
Don't bring that one back.
The makeup,
Nah,
you didn't like the white makeup on him.
nah, with the Flintstone sleeves, nah, I
Yeah,
didn't like
you
that.
didn't. Yeah, okay.
Mm.
Yabba dabba don't do it.
That one felt too gimmicky. I'm like, y'all doing. It's kind of like with Isaac Yankem. I'm like, yeah, I'm so
So
glad
what
y'all
about
couldn't
the
make a Kane.
so how do you feel about the new Kane? Since we know that the real Kane is in Knoxville doing his thing.
How do I feel about the new Kane? What do you mean?
Another king
Yeah, that's not the
right now.
same. That's not the mayor or governor of Knoxville.
I didn't notice another. I didn't know he
Wait,
was still
what you
active.
There's another
what is
guy
this?
wearing that mask. That's not the Kane that we know.
Are you talking about the Kane on like the independent shows? It's usually like the mask is like blue, I think.
Same mask, but he's about 50 pounds heavier.
Is this now?
Yeah,
I
Oh,
did
see,
not know about
this is
that.
news to me. I didn't know this was a
Mhm.
thing.
because that, like, okay, so Royal Rumble. Did you watch the Royal Rumble?
Yeah.
The Kane that was in the ring.
Kane wasn't in the ring this Royal Rumble.
So there's a
Am I
guy.
tripping?
I didn't watch the Royal Rumble, but I seen like highlights of it, and there's a masked dude that's got the red and black mask on, and I'm like, that can't be the Kane that I know. But
This
in a revamp show, when they did, I think it was like the 30th episode, the 30th year, or what they were doing for Raw.
uh
That Kane was not the same Kane either. That was a different guy. Like they have a dude that randomly pops up and plays Kane. He's like 50 pounds heavier.
I don't now there's like a reunion special for Raw. I don't remember the last reunion special I watched of Raw because I'm like, it's nothing but nostalgia pops the whole time, and I'm like, yeah, whatever. But as far as the Royal Rumble goes, I just watched. Like, I don't recall there being a masked figure in the match.
Same. I was about to say that too.
I'm trying my best to like go back in my memory, but I don't.
Yeah, once that
Because
mask came out, I stopped
I would
caring
remember
about
that
Kane. I ain't
pyro.
gonna hold you.
I would definitely remember that fire. And then, like, if Kane would have came back, that would have made a huge impact. He wouldn't have been in it that long, but it would have been a huge. Like the biggest surprise in the men's was what Braun
Yeah,
because
Braun.
he took Brock's spots. So I mean,
Yeah, because the whole tied in with the Vince McMahon stuff. Yeah.
yeah, which would be dope. I'm interested to see how they fall off with that. But anyway, that's a whole
Mike's
other
muted, Jay, by the
conversation.
way.
Huh?
No, he's trying to talk, but his mic's muted right now.
Oh yeah, your mic muted, bro.
Oh yeah, I haven't watched it yet, so I'm you know what I'm saying. I know that y'all said that Cody won the men's, but as far as the independent matches, I don't know what happened, and I don't want y'all to tell me. But yeah, so but yeah, there is a different Kane, and I think that they did a side by side with him and the Undertaker when they did Brothers of Destruction.
Like their last run is Brother Destruction, or like a
Yeah, when they reunited for whatever the last thing. I don't remember the actual
that's a
show that
fighting
they
show,
did
wasn't
it, but they came back as the Brothers of Destruction. And this Kane was that dude. That was not the governor of Knoxville.
So the last time I can remember like the Brothers Destruction reuniting was it was Brother Destruction versus the Wyatt family, and that was all the way back in 2015, that Survivor Series.
it? They did it against DX at a Saudi show.
Oh shoot, no, yeah, I completely forgot all about that was the Australia show, yeah.
Yeah, was it an Australia show?
Yeah, because remember they it was Undertaker versus Triple H, and then the next pay-per-view was the Crown Jewel. And they did DX versus Brothers of Destruction.
Yeah, and
at
that's
Crown
when
Jewel.
we all saw that Shawn didn't have no hair. And we was like,
Yeah,
oh,
Shawn was bald. Kane's wig fell off.
That's when I
Oh my
seen
yeah.
that wasn't the same Kane.
Injured.
Okay, so yeah, that was
Yeah, that was the last night. Yeah, I completely forgot about that. Holy yeah.
years, I think.
Wish I did. But
yeah, that was an embarrassment. Oh god. We're just gonna say Shawn's retired and never came back.